On today's ProtoPod, I'm joined by Brett Kelly, one of my longtime friends and colleagues. Brett is the technical director at 45Drives and one of the key architects behind their open source storage platforms. He's been instrumental in shaping the Storinator and Stornado lineup, direct wired architecture, and the company's approach to high performance open source storage. Brett, welcome on the podcast. Our inaugural in-person guest. Pleasure.
Oh man, thank you. I've been waiting for this.
I know, it's been a long time coming.
I wore all my gear.
You wore your gear. I like it. You're repping Protocase. For those of you who are listening or watching and don't know, 45Drives, Protocase family of companies, sister company, specializing in open source storage solutions. Mm-hmm. Before we get into 45Drives and our relationship, I want to start by talking about Brett's origin story. Tell the listeners what your background is, your professional journey, how you ended up to where you're at now.
Awesome. So I always like to yammer on and on and on, but I'll be concise as much as possible.
Yammer as much as you want.
No, we'll get right into it. So engineer by education, electrical engineer, electrical computer engineer, because Dow didn't really make much of a differentiation. But so I went to school at Dalhousie. Have always loved. Not so much like computers. I just love solving puzzles, which I imagine most engineers kind of end up that way, where you just like take things apart, put it back together, do that over and over again.
Yep.
So, but specific to what we're talking about here today and what we do here at 45Drives Computers, like my origin story really started with an iPod Touch when those things came out, and you could start jailbreaking them and stuff. And then I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And then just all the skills I had to learn to like remote into it and hack it, reload it, flash firmware onto it. I didn't realize that I was kind of laying the groundwork of like, oh crap, you can get paid for this kind of stuff one day. That kind of opened my eyes to like loving computers. And then I went through the electrical route. Thought I wanted to be a civil engineer at first. Took a statics class and went, no, never mind. Definitely don't want to be a civil engineer.
Too boring.
Way too boring.
Yeah.
And then I won't lie either. At least going through Dow at the time, whatever discipline you were going to get into, your engineering discipline, went by, if there was like too many people trying to get in, went by your marks. So it was like, I'm no dummy, but I was never top of the class kind of guy. And everyone wanted to be a mechanical engineer. I didn't want to be civil, didn't want to do mechanical, and I was like, you know what, electrical sounds fun. And then the ego kicked in a little bit because everyone said it was the hard one. So I was like, yeah, I'll go do that. So I went through the engineering degree, had a great time doing that, learned a lot of things. When I went looking for work, it was the classic case of, at least for most people in Canada in the mid-2010s, was you go out west to work in Alberta, and I really loved Nova Scotia. I loved, what we do here. There was a lot of work that still needed to be done here, and the whole concept of brain drain, like a lot of smart people that I grew up with wanted to leave. It's like, how does our home get any better if everyone leaves? And then found a job opportunity here at 45Drives, which at the time was just a baby. It was still Protocase actually doing the hiring. So came up. Still remember before my first interview Googling, what is a computer server? That kind of work. Gavin Andrews, shout out to Gavin, looked after me in the early days. And
shout out Gavin.
Then it's been Protocase and 45Drives for the last 10, 12 years now, and it's been lots of fun.
It's interesting. I never knew that. That hacker by nature, to me that's just curiosity. And especially in an interest in curiosity with electronics, and whatever way that is. At the time when you're a kid, it's through an iPod Touch or
it's through toys.
Yeah, it's their toys. There's something to mess around with. And I'm assuming when you've joined 45Drives way back when, 10, 12 years ago, that kind of scratched that itch for you. Is that?
That's absolutely it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like what I said before. It's like, I like computers. I like puzzles. Like that's why I like engineering. I liked coming in and Doug Milburn saying like, oh, this is a senior engineer's position, but he'll figure it out. Like that kind of like, oh shoot, this is hard. There isn't a clear path yet. Just like that hacking around with the iPod where it's just like, I don't know. I know where I'm trying to go. And computers are the perfect place for that because well, they're mystifying. Most people are just like, oh, those are way too complex. I don't know. So yeah, it did. It scratched that itch. And then when I came here, I don't know. It's like anyone takes a job out of school. You can't just take one of the first ones that you find because you need a job.
Yeah, I love the honesty.
But it's always funny. We say we're lucky where we end up. But we often, that's not always true. Like, we work hard for our opportunities, but like, it's usually lucky you find the opportunity you did. And then it's the next thing is that kind of gut feeling that kicks in. Where like, I remember coming up and meeting Doug and my other coworkers here and everything, and just the general, lack of a better word, vibe of how people worked here at Protocase and Backblaze at the time, 45 Drives. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And then when you're young, you just like, you don't necessarily know the right answer, but you just trust those kind of gut feelings. So that, coupled with there's a massive challenge here, these people seem fun to work with. Well, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I think like the idea that you kind of stepped into this world of endless possibilities. Yeah. And definitely taking full advantage of that. Yeah. During your career here. I'm curious, can you kind of give me an idea and the audience what 45 Drives looked like back then? What were the origin stories, and where was 45 Drives when you joined the team?
Awesome. Great question. I love answering this question. 45 Drives started with a crazy idea from Doug Milburn and Stephen McNeil. And Stephen McNeil, for those who don't know, is a colleague of mine on the 45 Drive side. And it was this company called Backblaze is a cloud provider. And they were sick and tired of the opaque nature of how you buy enterprise grade storage servers. The reason I say it that way is like, that really is the beginning nugget of what 45 Drives is. This company, Backblaze, still good friends of ours, was building a cloud out. And if they wanted to go buy hardware from the legacy providers, think, you know who I'm talking about, like the Dells, the HPs, the very qualified and really kind of the pioneers of the enterprise computing world. It was hard to buy and not always clear what you were getting for your money. And storage for these cloud companies, which 10, 15 years ago was relatively new concept of this cloud computing and everything like that, was a core competency of them. So they didn't want to like waste any of their money on hardware that they wanted to show value for every dollar on it. And just very smart philosophical people of like, this isn't right. And not just for them, but for everyone in the world. And it's going to hold back innovation if you can't buy massive storage servers at a fair and, lack of a better word, non-opaque pricing. Because they saw where the world was going. We say it all the time, storage is infrastructure. It's only useful with the stuff you put on it, but without it, like we would have, like everyone says, there's the amount of data we're producing is exponential, keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I digress. Where I'm going with this, Backblaze was that first idea. They built a 45 Drives, 45 bay storage server out of plywood in their apartment down in San Francisco, proved their concept that this could be done, and then went looking for a manufacturer to actually build it for them. Then what they realized, it was easier to build a wooden prototype than it is of a brand new storage server than it was actually getting someone to make it for them. And that's when they came and found Protocase, because Protocase does exactly that. It takes crazy ideas from innovators, scientists, engineers, and makes it a reality. So the very first 45 Drives unit was a Backblaze pod, is what it was called. And they went through all kinds of iterations, and Protocase started manufacturing these servers for Backblaze. At that point, then it split, because Backblaze wanted to build a cloud. They had no desire to get into manufacturing themselves, but and I showed them out for this, and just another reason why I love them, is they were like, we're not going to let this idea die, gobble it up, and throw it away. We want the whole world to benefit from what we pushed here. So that was when 45 Drives was really born, because they're like, we're going this way, design, open, you guys do what you want with it. So when I first got here, we were literally just building servers for people, sending them off, and they were, I don't know, using them in their various ways that they were doing. It was the various, at that point we were very naive to like what people were going to do with them. We just knew that there was a big demand for them. And then since then, I'll fast forward to kind of where we are now, we did the classic product development jump of, okay, at first we'll just make the metal, we'll show them where they can buy all the parts, they'll buy all the stuff and put it together themselves. People love the idea, no sales. No sales because no one's boss would let them do that, take that project on. And then we said, okay, we'll manufacture it we'll assemble the whole thing for them, we'll test it, then we'll just send it off to them. That appeased a lot of people. The sales started to take off, but there's a concept of a guy from Jeffrey Moore, this crossing the chasm curve. Okay. And the whole idea is at the beginning.
Early adopters.
The early adopters. Yeah. And you get the visionaries and the people who want to be ahead of the game, they buy it, they know what they want to do with the product, so you just have to give it to them. But as you progress through that curve, eventually you get the people who are like, no, you tell me what it does, I came to you. So we just kept adding on. So we did assembly, then we started doing service on top of it because people wanted, a single point of accountability, a throat to choke, if you will, if something went wrong. And then from there, then we kept growing our team. We started doing software development on top of it. And now we went from, here, you buy the box yourself and put it all together. We've got all your supply lines for you, to it's supported. You have enterprise backing service behind it. We have our own layer of server operating system on top. And now we're selling to Fortune 500 companies, massive clusters and everything out there, and really tied it back in. That was the beginning to where we are now. And I showed up Protocase because they have always been the manufacturer and the innovation platform to let us get a solid piece of hardware, but then just keep following the customer, if you will.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to dig into a little bit more, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. So obviously it kind of stemmed from this idea that storage is a fundamental need of every business. Yep. And how that storage was purchased, I believe you used the term opaque. It's kind of a black box. Yep. Don't know how pricing works, don't know how the system works, maybe it's inflexible, what have you.
All those things. Pretty much how it worked is you go call one of those account representatives for those companies. I'm like, what's your budget? We have $50K. All right, we'll get a quote to you. And then it was always magically right up to your budget. That's what I meant by opaque.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe a little bit taking advantage of companies.
Or at least that's what it felt like to people.
Yeah. So it wasn't a great experience. So you guys kind of evolved, from initially having this as a Lego set that people put together. Yep. But that didn't really work because maybe there was a barrier to entry with the amount of work.
There was still a project behind it.
Exactly. It didn't solve their problem, right? And I know that obviously you alluded to this evolution all the way up to service, and now you can, provide some sort of safety for people in knowing that the product that they're going to get is going to be backed by a team that knows how to service it. Yeah. I'm just curious in a little bit more detail what that progression in identifying customer pain has been, and like what are the core pains that you guys solve for your customers now?
Great question, thank you. Because it's just like, well, how did you not, you're in the server game, how did you not just become what you guys set out to beat? So I'll start around, before I get into that, is like flexibility, openness, and the idea that if you bought something, you own it. We don't tell you how to run it. We'll give you recommendations, but at the end of the day, you are in control of the capital expense that you just purchased because it's your business, and you shouldn't be told.
It's a novel idea.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I know. It's funny though because it doesn't always directly. Anyway, whatever. So what pain points are we solving for people? I'll try to answer as direct as I can. It's that we position ourselves in the market as the people that give you flexibility, openness to solve the problem the way you. No, sorry. you're going to have to edit that part out. I'm going to answer this again.
It's all good.
We position ourselves in the market to give you something unique. Not necessarily saying that we've innovated and do storage in a whole new way, all that stuff. No, we operate our business in a unique way. We see it currently. How would you go out and buy a storage solution from someone? You could go to the legacy providers, or you could go the kind of DIY open source do-it-yourself. Before I continue, the basis of everything we do is built around open source software. We don't hate proprietary things, but we just love open source software, and I'll get to why. So we position ourselves against the two ways that you would typically do it right now. If you went with the legacy providers, you get all the wonderful things that come with that. You get a single point of accountability. You get a one-stop shop. They get everything from you. You get pretty solid technical gear that will solve the problem for you, both hardware-wise and then the software stack, because that's the world we live in now. It's software-defined everything. It's not just a proprietary piece of hardware that dictates how things work. But we leave away the bad stuff with that. There's lock-in with the legacy people. And what I mean by lock-in is they're very careful about who they let in, to work with. No, you want to use those hard drives? No, they don't have our firmware on it. We won't. Our systems won't even pick them up. That idea of thinking comes from, in the past, they needed to make everything kind of like guarantee that it was going to work. But computing, software, hardware has come so far that old paradigm doesn't serve the customers anymore. It just serves their shareholders. So that lock-in, which used to be a thing that almost mitigated risk for people buying, has now created an even larger risk because you're not allowed to bend your very expensive solution in the right way to solve your needs. Okay. Now the other side of the equation, someone could just go, all right, go get all this open source software, buy a server from Supermicro, or just build one yourself, and great. But the challenges that come with that, positives that come with that, is it's flexible, it's built exactly to what you need, but everyone knows the project iceberg. Which seems like a good idea at first. As you start to build it out, you find all the pitfalls that come with it. And again, I'm not dumping on doing it yourself. If it's a core competency of your business, you should do it because it's awesome. Yep. But I do believe that storage is not a core competency of most businesses. You need it to run, but you don't want to invest a bunch of engineers and stuff to it.
Yeah, so for a project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying project. If you do it the do-it-yourself way, it's great, but it's a project. You own all the pitfalls of that. You got to do all your management of managing your supply chain and everything like that, which can be a pain. So what 45Drives aims to do, and I feel pretty successfully does, is marries the two, the good parts of the two, but we leave the old parts behind. By using open source hardware, software, and our kind of modular, flexible way of how we support and build our software tools around that, we give you the flexibility, we give you the technical superiority that the latest and greatest software does, but we still give you all the good stuff that the legacies give you. When you're buying from 45Drives, you have a service provider behind it. You have one single point of accountability. You have a one-stop shop, and you have software that's tightly integrated to the hardware. So ultimately, I want to end this with, people want to reduce their risk. If they buy something, especially if they're buying petabytes of data, they're spending hundreds, if not more, thousands of dollars on it. And the last thing someone wants to do is have it all fall apart and get in trouble. Get fired, have the project not fail, or whatever. So we do all those things to try to reduce people's risks. Anyway, that's what 45Drives solves in the market.
It's really interesting. There's so many parallels with Protocase and the Protospace, the whole family of companies, and how what we do from a physical perspective, bend metal, machine parts, is not novel. It's rote. It's work that's been done for over 100 years, and
if not longer, buddy. People have been smelting metal and mended into place since thousands of years.
That in itself, in the same way, a storage server is nothing special, but it's how you apply that to a problem for people. And the biggest thing that jumped in my head when you were talking, just in the legacy providers versus doing it yourself versus you guys, is this idea, with our customers at Protocase, where pioneers in a manufacturing methodology called HVMC. Basically, we keep your projects moving by getting you your parts really, really quickly. You remove latencies.
High velocity mass custom, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. High velocity mass customization. And it's this idea that the other options they're very similar, right? There's the legacy, the mom and pop machine shop, backlog based manufacturing, where you might go and request a part of quantity 5 today and you'll get it in 2 weeks, and you go and do that in a month, and all of a sudden this fab shop has a big order and you're not getting it for 3 months. And it's not sustainable, right? It's risky, and it keeps your projects from progressing. Then there's also the do-it-yourself, and what I've seen is some customers, they want to reduce that latency, so they'll buy a machine shop, and all of a sudden, yes, they have immediate access to things, but that machine shop gets busy, and you run into the same backlog issue, and you've got all that overhead. It's just incredible to me how many parallels there are in the fact that the way the solution applied is so innovative, but it's to such a simple thing, and how much of a difference that makes. It's really cool. It
is cool. It's almost as if we have the same owners.
Exactly. Yes, they have the same methodology. Absolutely.
But jokes aside, I love it too, and I do want to, because of Protocase, we have such a good symbiotic relationship now. We call ourselves sister companies, but it really was we were the little sibling growing up and watching Protocase. But the whole we have a unique spot in the market as well too, for the flexibility that we can do, not just with the software and the kind of logical up in limbo land of I always joke, how do you freaking describe software with words? I can't. I just wave my hands around. But my point is that's where everyone goes to customization in our world now.
Absolutely.
How they can, but
different UI.
Yeah, because everyone buys the same piece of hardware.
Yeah.
Jokes, if you're buying all the legacy stuff, they're all buying it from the same vendors. They're just white labeling it for you. We have that, but because Protocase's HVMC mentality and the way that you guys can move fast, pivot, do new designs, that's how we churn out new products. Or even we do stuff of one unique thing that people love is we'll do custom front plates for people. And what I mean by that is we have rack mount storage servers. I guess I never really said that, but at the end of the day, that's what our storage solutions are. And you can be did you know that you can just get your company's logo on there too at the same time? Oh, well, that's probably going to add lead time and extra cost. No, it's $50 and it's the same lead time. But it's because of the marriage of the way the two companies work. So, yeah, no. And then the end too, that's just that. But then even prototyping new stuff and the way we do our design, we don't have to really do the traditional, we're locking this design and we're sticking with this model for 3 years because we have to put it in with our manufacturing shop and deal with it. Because we're both so lean in how we work, we're able to innovate and make new products and move fast, and it's I love it. I love working here for that.
Yeah, I think you've described it super well. I'd like to expand on it a little bit. I think the fact that although broadly I think the pain that 45Drives solves, as you've articulated, it is somewhat constant, but there's different tweaks, different needs, different specifications that people need, and what that requires is you need a pretty broad pool of products.
Correct.
Which means you have to innovate.
Yep.
So just expand on that. Why is it that ability to get what you need, whether that be for a prototype or for a production level part? Why does that make such a difference for you guys?
Velocity of a project, of a thought, being able to chase a thread down to the end and see an idea come to life quickly, although even if it's hacked together, duct taped together, is the key to innovation. It's funny because the two things are converse. I am a person who loves hacking shit together. I'm sorry, I don't know if we can swear on the ProtoPod, but we're doing it. I love hacking stuff together. That's great for innovation. I have a company beside me that can make us ideas like that, churn the parts out. And because of that, we can take a thread, an idea from a start to finish very quickly, see if it works, maybe it doesn't work, iterate, move fast. And then we can keep getting through a project and get it done. Conversely, no, I don't know where I was going there.
It's that.
But that's where I was at. Yeah.
It's that idea that, and again, it spoke to it so well, is that when you're moving through a project, anybody who's listening who has done a project before knows this, deeply, resonates with them deeply, that latencies kill innovation.
Yep.
Not because people want to slow down or don't want to finish something, because sometimes it's just really hard to pick something back up once you've dropped it for a little bit, couple weeks, and you're into something else. Your mind is just
gone
somewhere else entirely.
There's the biggest lie anyone tells themselves, and I still do to myself to this day, or multitasking, or I'll remember that, or I'll multitask.
Yeah.
I should write this down.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. I don't think that that's an effective strategy for people, especially when you are on the edge of innovation, and the problems, the unknowns are challenging and they're real, and you need your energy to be focused on solving those problems, not on the silly little part that you're waiting on to attach whatever a PCB to another piece of electronics. Like they're context, they're not core to the project.
Yep, well said.
And that's what kills things, and that's, I think you guys have done such an excellent job of embracing, the reduction of latencies broadly, but especially with the the physical enclosures that you guys have to build. And I think that has been a major key to your success. And it's
no, you're bang on, because traditionally we're in a world now with software, ChatGPT, everything instant gratification. It's a thing we hear all the time. But like, I love writing software. Scripts, anything like that, because nope, that didn't work, change, boom, boom, there it is. Like, you instantly get to find out if what you did worked or not. Making anything physically is not that. It's I did all this work, I did the CAD work, fired it in, I'll wait in a couple weeks to see if it worked or not. That's traditionally how it's always been. Always been, I need a new piece of hardware, I'll put an order in, it'll get here in a few days. So actually, as we're going down that, is there another reason why I think software adapts so friggin' fast? Because you can get that instant feedback. You can, as one person or a small team, rapidly develop things. So what Protocase does by giving you things back very quickly, you kind of get that software instant gratification dopamine hit of like, sick, my part's here, box open, boom, screw it all together, there it is. In R&D, guess what? Probably not going to work the first time. Is that a failure? No, that's how it works. So get another one in there and get it done right away. So it's nice.
Almost it's interesting. I just think about this. It's almost like not being able to get those context parts, to be able to remove latencies through your vendors. So using those backlog-based vendors and having the lead times expand out. It's almost like writing a program but not being able to like do a break and run a test build.
Hell yeah.
It's like you've got to build the entire thing and then launch it and push it and then run it, and then you're gonna have a bunch of issues, and your turnaround time is just gonna dramatically increase, and your pace of innovation is just gonna plummet. It's I think that's a great comparison.
It's interesting too. Yeah, it is good, and it's funny because the two concepts are orthogonal. I think, like, I believe personally, I'm good at innovation. I like to go fast. My brain kind of goes like you connect a dot real quick. I suck at process. It bores me. But you know what process brings? Quality. You need both, and that's the kind of back and forth of like, if you want to break something, build something new, be fast. Don't be afraid to make a mess. Go, 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 go. But don't think you can live your whole, or like, don't think that that's the whole thing. Like, make an idea, lock it in, try different stuff. There it is. And then have people either embrace it yourself or have a team to work with. Because going fast is necessary to innovate, but at a certain point, it's got to shift to like, all right, slow down, lock it in, follow the process, because going fast just is also bad quality. But you can have bad quality when you're prototyping, kind of, at least when you're breaking. And I think people fail to realize that there's a balance of those two things.
When do you think that shift happens?
Oh, great question. Great question. If I knew that answer, then I'd really be an accomplished, experienced engineer. I'm still learning it myself.
Is it when, like, I go to, is it, when your unknowns are resolved?
Yep.
When you've got something that, works and is reliable and meets your goal.
I think that's it. I think you nailed it. I think that is the answer. And it's knowing, and then the other thing is knowing, knows your goals, your unknowns are solved. You just defined a finish line. You defined a goalpost. It's like, you're exactly right, but when is that time? When is it time to do it? I work with some engineers that are so friggin' smart, but the analogy I use is they run marathons and then just keep going after they cross the finish line. Like, you just did amazing work. Stop. You did it. So you're exactly right. When your unknowns are solved, when your goal is accomplished. So if you start something, you didn't define what your unknowns were, and you don't know what your goal is, you're never going to finish because you don't know when the finish line is. Well said. I like that.
Absolutely. I'm curious. So we've talked a lot broadly about innovation and what we do to accelerate it. I'm curious, specific innovations, some things that you're proud of, maybe recently, something 45 Drives is working on. What have been the latest and greatest innovations for 45 Drives from your perspective?
That's a good question, because now the humble side of me is kicking me in a little bit, and I was like, there's nothing innovative that we do. We just no, but that's not true. What I feel is innovative on our side is we're not like changing the game of storage in terms of we've invented a new type of SSD or something like that. It's just how we choose to use things. What's truly innovative about 45 Drives, I feel, is the commitment of staying a hardware manufacturer, but also sticking by the software as well too, and tightly integrating those two things. We make design choices that are the right balance of hard drives to SSDs, such that the magic software we use to cluster everything together, called Ceph, works with it perfectly. And this is what I mean when I say tightly integrated, where our practice of, you said Lego blocks earlier when we were first talking about we let people build their own servers, but we kept that concept throughout the whole thing. It just kind of abstracted more and more and more. And the innovative way I like to think about our solutions are, I don't know, Jordan, you need to build a storage solution for I don't know, the EDS team or the engineering design service team. They do a bunch of CAD work on it, and that we can like go and build the right solution for you. So from your point of view, it was purpose built, tailored, custom to you. But by keeping that same kind of mass custom nature that our two companies know, it's like, no, these are very well defined parts with parameters that are plugging in together. We just didn't hack this stuff together. Oh, you need some storage for your engineering design services team, does a bunch of CAD work. You know what? Our Storinator hybrid products are perfect for that. You need a bunch of storage. You need a little bit of fast latency, because they're like fast latency, low latency. So they can open things quickly, but mainly you're just going to be storing a bunch of stuff, time localized. When a project's done, it gets shuffled off somewhere else. So you need more hard drives than anything. But like, say our producer Chris here is building his very fast storage cluster for his video production team that he's growing out. You guys get the same function at the end, but I'm going to build yours with hard drives and NVMEs. I'm going to build his with fast storage. But what it looked like from, you guys got two purpose-built solutions that are right for you. But what we did is we just kind of unplugged some pieces, plugged a new piece in. But it's not risky. It's not bespoke. It's not custom. It's that piece. So the way we approach building the systems of interjecting that mass custom high velocity, everything's got a parameter plugs in, allows us to build innovative solutions that allows people to get the right solution for the right money for the right application for them. And then I think that's probably the innovative way we look at it.
So it's all about developing products that are high performance, but for a broad spectrum, and then a broad spectrum of use cases, and then curating the ensemble, I guess,
well said,
of units or storage units that you sell to the customer, to fit their needs exactly for what they're doing.
Yep. The way I like to look at it is just like you go buy a Lego set. You look at the box, you go, ooh, I like that castle.
Yeah.
So you can buy that castle. Or maybe you've got all your pieces behind the scenes and you're like, I like that, but I want it in this color and stuff like that, and you plug some stuff around.
Yeah. So, and all backed again by this idea that, you know, open source, you can customize it in the way that you want to. Service team is there for any questions and to give you security. And then also, it's on site. And that's something that I wanted to ask you about, because you had mentioned before Backblaze, back in the origin stories, they kind of split from 45Drives and they went down the cloud road. Why is on-prem or on-premises storage solution important to you guys?
Okay, great. I love that you use word important, because a lot of people in this world, especially in computing, go to black and white. Hard drives or SSDs, cloud or on-prem, AI or no AI. That's not how the world works. It's a mix of everything. So back to answering your question directly. On-prem is important to us because the whole world took off and said, we're going to the cloud. And I tip my cap to the marketing team of the cloud providers.
The cloud marketing.
The cloud marketing, because they sold convenience and simplicity and said, aren't you sick of your IT team and a server room? For this low monthly fee, we'll just put it all up there. Where's up there? Don't worry about it.
Who knows?
Don't worry about it. So it sounds like I'm dumping on the cloud right now. And I am a little bit, because some of those behaviors is a lot like a drug dealer. It's just like, here's your easy fix.
Don't worry about where it came from.
All your data's up in the clouds. Now, by the way, you know you have to pay for the in and out data access to that. So if you want to move it somewhere else, good luck. It's going to cost you $1 million.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff that gets you. It gets you, right? Because everyone in this world loves convenience now above anything else. That's why everyone jumped to the cloud. But there's some issues with the cloud. There's some financial things you got to watch, especially when storing massive amounts of data. It is really expensive to store a massive amount of data. When I say massive amount of data, I'm saying anywhere north of like 500 terabytes, petabytes, which might seem crazy to some people who aren't really deep in the storage world, or just kind of consider how much data their company has or something like that. But that's not crazy anymore for someone to have a petabyte of data. So, it can get expensive. It builds, right? It starts small, and all of a sudden, you have to pay to store it. You have to pay to access it. You're limited by your internet connection. So speed. So like, we go move all this editing footage from our on-prem stuff up into the cloud. Poor Chris has got a 1 gigabit internet connection. He needs 10 gigabit speeds. Like the bandwidth, you need, and then now your ISP bills have to go up because you have to jump to a whole other thing. Oh, but don't worry, it's more convenient. And then the other big thing that's really, really pushing the needle right now, those financial things, but security. Without going too far down this road, geopolitics will always play a game in anything. You never know when a friend is no longer a friend or whatever. And the major cloud providers aren't always in the same country as you. And sometimes maybe you're just worried about your privacy. Maybe you're a medical institution or whatever, and you've got to follow certain HIPAA laws that says you're not allowed to store it in another nation. So if you put it in Amazon's cloud, how do you know where it is? You don't. So my point, all those things add up to the point where on-prem storage is still very useful. I didn't even hit the main part of just like ownership. Like we've gotten so used to
giving away our data for free.
It's an old adage, right? If you're using, if whatever piece of software or app or whatever is free, you are the product.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have all these AI tools as smart as they are now? Why do you think Reddit changed their whole model and put lockdown and you have to pay to use their API now? Because all these models are trained on everything we've been pumping onto the internet. We never realized how valuable our own data is, and people are just figuring it out now for security reasons, for all these reasons. So on-prem is incredibly valuable from massive enterprise all the way down to someone just storing stuff in the home lab. And it could be as tin hat scary as in they're going to steal your data and know everything about you, to just like, how do you know Google isn't going to corrupt your photos? Because that's happened. How do you know Amazon just deletes an account because you didn't pay it in time? Because that's happened. So my whole point to all of this is always, always, always consider what the right solution is for you. Because I started this with saying cloud or no cloud, and then I've spent a lot of time saying why I might not like the cloud, but it's also super useful. So having on-prem storage is great economically in the long run for mass amount of storage, for speed purposes, for security purposes, and for just data sovereignty. It's yours. But I'll also sit here and say, we as 45 Drives, we actually still put some services of ours up in the cloud because there's the global reach of it. It's useful. So on-prem will never go away. They were saying it was going to, but it's coming back now. So I feel strongly about that, if you couldn't tell.
Absolutely. No, it's a great explanation. And I think, it's in that it's use case specific, but the overuse of the cloud has, in some ways, generated tremendous risk, both financially and from a security perspective, to everybody. I mean, not just the enterprise, the company, but the individual, which is where you mentioned Home Labs. I think kind of fits in there. It just reminds me of a recent example. My wife got a notification from her cloud provider for her cell phone, and she had reached her limit on the amount of storage she had, and the next tier up of monthly cost was like exponentially higher than what she was currently purchasing. Yeah. And it's almost that I can see that relationship, right, with obviously pay to access it, but then there's the more and more you store, the costs kind of expand to an out of control amount. And it almost seems like something, again, not living that world, I'm not an IT guy, but it could kind of happen without you really knowing.
Absolutely.
The company is going about its business, and then all of a sudden you're hit with this big bill.
It happens. And then also, what are you going to do? In her case, pay this bill. It's literally ransomware. Pay this bill or go delete memories.
Exactly. And that's
ridiculous.
It's exactly it. Yeah.
And that's like, we mentioned Home Lab briefly. It's true for business too, but like that's another initiative that we're really trying to push on the Home Lab side, and where we take our kind of enterprise learning and all that we've learned there, and then make it available for those to. You said it yourself. You're not an IT guy. You're not an IT guy. This whole world, it's people in the IT computing industry love to make it sound so hard and scary, because it can be. But like even with the sects within it, like networking, Jesus Christ, scares the hell out of me because the acronyms they use and everything like that. But it's in everyone's best interest to take a little bit more ownership of that and be like, no, I want my services, I want my phone to sync with something that lives in my house. But the current landscape of things, if you don't like it, or if you're not like the IT stuff, like if you're not interested in it, or if you don't spend time learning it, it's still complicated. This is like rock and a hard place. What are you going to do? I'm going to pay my cloud provider to give me more space.
And it's that idea with the Home Lab, on the Home Labs front, that you're kind of removing the barrier to entry for people, that knowledge gap.
Yeah, we're working on it, because it is a little challenging, and I'm not going to sit here and say that like storage is completely easy, but like what we really try to, in like 45 Drives, you guys make videos on Protocase side, we make videos on ours. We've always had a lot of success trying to demystify and making this stuff fun, because well, it can be really dry sometimes. Yeah. But I just want to jam this in before we jump to another point. But the cloud on-prem thing for storage has been almost an old story. It's been around for a couple of years now, but it's happening again right now with AI. ChatGPT and everything like that, and it's worse, because it was almost like the cloud storage kind of conditioned people to be like, don't worry about anything, just use our service. And now we're into the AI world, and the stuff that people put into that or trust it, and you're like, you don't understand what they're using behind the scene. That thing's training on itself, that thing's learning. Like, some places have figured it out to be careful with it, but like it learns on everything you put in to that thing, and they positioned it in such a way that if you don't use the cloud-based OpenAI or the AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, anything, and not shitting on them, those are great tools. But there's open source models that you can get a piece of hardware and run on your own house, and what that means is you still get the tools, but you're not feeding your data off to somewhere else, and that's another thing that we want to try to get out there.
I think I'd like to kind of expand on that further, because my last question for you was really about, we talked a lot about innovation, broadly and then some specific examples. And I wanted to talk to you about what you thought the next innovation in the storage solution industry was. However, that kind of maybe pivots me somewhere else. And where do you think, I guess, compute for AI, how that fits in the landscape that 45 Drives is involved with moving forward? Is on-prem a need that maybe 45 Drives could meet to satisfy those concerns about, what are you teaching ChatGPT? What are you teaching Grok? What are you teaching, etc.? And how? What does that look like? What's that landscape look like?
Great. What that landscape looks like is we at 45 Drives, like we've always been innovating. We talk a lot about storage, but we have since expanded our product lines beyond just storage products. We have our VM line, where the idea is it's built for doing virtual machines and everything. But I won't touch there too much because your question was about the compute side of things.
And I might be incorrect in assuming that's where it goes with AI, but that's what I'm curious about. I'm assuming it's compute.
Well, that's exactly where it's going. Yeah. And it's GPU compute. And we're in an interesting spot right now because a lot of it's speculation. And maybe I'll be wrong when I say this, and maybe it'll turn. But I do believe we're in a bit of an AI bubble right now. And what I mean by that is I don't think people quite realize. I guess I'm not. I'll answer your question, but you gave me a platform, so I'm going to give my opinions.
Yes.
I do think we're in a bit of a bubble in the same way that the internet was in a bit of a bubble, like the first .com. It'll bust. It's just because people it's not quite cooked and ready for what people expected. They don't get what it is yet. It's just really good at guessing what you want, and they're using it to think for themselves. But really, what it is just another really useful tool. I've heard people jokingly go, "It's just Super Google." No, but that's what it is.
It is.
It is Super Google, and it's so useful and it's so powerful. But I'm seeing it more and more. People are letting it replace not the trivial tasks that it should be replacing. They're letting it think for them. AI is the wrong word for it. It's not intelligence yet. It doesn't think. So where we're going with this world is embrace it, start to use it, but learn it first. Before you just go all in with I'm going to put AI into everything. Understand where we are with it and where it's going. This is probably the coolest, if not most inflection point technology that we've had as humans in a long time. I haven't been around too long, so I haven't seen some of the major ones before, but this is changing the game. Now, where I'm going with all that is educate yourself. And when I say educate yourself, look into its limitations, look at ways that you can run local AI models. And again, it's still not the easiest. There still is a higher barrier of entry. You still have to buy some pretty relatively expensive hardware to make it run fast enough that you can replace the cloud offerings and stuff like that. But where we're going with this as a company, 45 Drives, is we want to give people kind of two options. Compute servers. And when I say compute servers, I mean some pretty beefy, massive 6U high rack mount servers with 4 to 8 NVIDIA GPUs in it. So you can run your own local. And when I say local to the enterprise, I mean people like governments, large organizations who want ChatGPT-ish performance, but that they own it all themselves. And in the same way that there was opaque pricing around the legacy providers giving you storage hardware, circles to happen in the same way with hardware. The challenge with hardware right now is NVIDIA owns the game. They are the monopoly on all things AI, and hats off to them because CUDA and their whole work that they did, they bet on this and they were right. But I don't know, if you look at the whole economics of the thing right now too, it's built in such a way where I just think it's largely overinflated. But that's not to say that AI is wrong or made up or don't believe it's garbage. I think it's just a little where people are just betting a little too early on it because it hasn't quite cooked yet. And but we're not going to sit idly by and not join the party. We're making products that work. We have customers of ours who are asking particularly for certain spec units that have a lot of these parts in it, and it's something we're working on right now.
Yeah, so it's very similar to kind of the origin stories of 45 when storage was beginning to it was more apparent that it was a fundamental need.
Yeah.
And AI is kind of at that place where we're still figuring that out, but it probably will become that. And
it will.
And it's about, figuring out how 45Drives create solutions that, work in the same way for AI, and that curated way for your customers.
You got it.
In addition to the storage solutions.
Because you need the storage too, exactly. In addition, and then there's the other half of that. So there's the physical piece of hardware that runs all the models. And because at the end of the day, it's just doing a bunch of math, right?
Yep.
So you need something that does a bunch of math.
Yeah.
But then you need to give people a way to run their local models, use their local tools, and not just as a chatbot, to do stuff of like, even here, like I don't know, like receipts for what am I trying to say?
Expenses, yeah.
Sucks. Right? Yeah. There's tools out there for it, but there's all like those are all great ways that you can use AI there. But like, wouldn't it be great if you had something on-prem and it was an easy, consumable like portal that, when I say portal, I mean like web interface, looked a lot like the other ones, but it was yours. You knew it wasn't leaving your network.
Yeah.
So those are some things we're working on, both the hardware and the software layer of it.
Yeah. Yeah. For those listening, I don't know if I'm going to say it anyway, that's exactly what we've done here at Protocase is, we've been given solutions from 45Drives that allow us to run our own AI models internally that are purpose built for our needs, and it makes a massive impact. Especially when what I've noticed is that the majority of the issues I see with AI are when it's casting a wide net, when it's general AI, and when it's trained well and purpose built, it functions really well and as a massive productivity boost.
Yeah, kind of like humans in a way, right?
Kind of like humans.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's just, I don't know, I go back and forth on the AI thing where like sometimes it incredibly frustrates me because people kind of mislabel it, but on the other side of things, we haven't even scratched the surface how useful it's going to be, but it's also terrifying because like, and this goes deeper with like, if you ever make true AI, it'll be like, well, let's get rid of the humans, they're the problem. So then you get the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Red light, blue light.
Red light, blue light.
Full circle, right back.
Almost as if producer Chris knew where we were going with this conversation.
Yeah. But it's interesting. And like I said when I started this, I don't know if I'm right. It's just what I'm seeing. The stupidest thing you can ever do in the world is be certain that you're right, especially when you're younger and there's a lot of life left to live. But I think the ending story there is with everything is like, I had a conversation with another friend of ours at hockey, Mr. Pouchet, and I was sharing my concerns. And he looks at me and goes, so you don't think AI is useful? I was like, no, that's not what I said at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, I feel like we get in these black and white circles of like, I'm just going to do this, or if I'm not going to do it, we're not going to do it. And like, I don't know, educate yourself on this. This is the most powerful and like scary thing we've ever built, so make sure you know what it is. That's all I'm saying to
it's
people.
The power of and, right? It's not either or, but and it can be both good and bad in ways, and to be aware of that. Brett, before we conclude, I would like to run you through our rapid fire segment.
Let's go, baby. Lightning round.
Series of questions, lightning round. First thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Hockey or soccer?
Hockey. You didn't have to finish.
I don't know if I agree with that. SSD or HDD? If you had to pick one forever.
Hard drives.
Hard drives. Ooh.
I could give reasons why, but it's lightning round, so keep going.
Ceph or ZFS?
Ceph.
Ceph. Dark mode or light mode?
I already told Chris laughing at there. I already told you light mode.
Light mode.
I've switched back.
Oh, Brett.
I know.
I wish you had told me that before this interview. I probably would have stopped it right there.
I know.
Sports hero.
My mother, Kim Kelly, 2-time world champ.
One of the greatest Canadian curlers of all time. Kim Kelly, Brett's mom. Brett, I don't know. You didn't quite get the athletic gene. Not completely.
No, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
I'm just teasing. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Great answer. Best sport to watch live?
Oh, lightning. Hockey, I guess.
Hockey.
I didn't do that one right. I actually thought about it. Yeah, it's hockey.
I think you already answered this next one. First piece of tech you ever tore apart as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't physically tear it apart, but an iPod Touch.
Yeah, iPod Touch. If you weren't in tech, what job would you be in?
Creating something like YouTube stories, television. I've come to love it. I never thought that was something, and then just doing this through here, it's fun to build stories, and that.
Yeah, I think I can see that.
Yeah,
that whole creative creator environment is
writers, jokes. I'd like to go as far as kind of like comedian, but like everyone thinks they're funny. But like I just like I love the vibe of like the writer room style of like making something funny, even when you're doing something kind of dry like technology and storage sometimes, and just punching it up to tell a story around that. It's really fun.
Yeah, everything's exciting if it has a story around it. Brett, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry this is coming to a close. I'm excited though for the next time you appear on the pod, because I think we'll have to do this again, another in-person appearance, and we'll discuss what's new and exciting at that time.
Perfect. Thanks for having me. I've been asking for a while. So I'm finally here.
We finally got you on.
Anyway, thanks, Jordan. It was a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Till next time, folks. Bye-bye.